Um, Today I'm going to be doing a quick video about the Tatooine World Boss. Um, with me I have Uwan and Elsis. They're going to be my little helpers for this. This World Boss is actually soloable once you hit level 50 if you have decent gear, at least daily grade. I'm not really going to go into detail about that, mainly because I'm going to go more into the details of what go on in a boss fight. Mostly ones that include AoE attacks. And that's why I chose to do Tatooine. It is a fairly easy boss. It still does damage, even to level 50s, but it is still soloable. Alright, first thing I want to point out is, yes, I'm a combat sentinel, so I'm not a tank, so I might take more damage than if I were a tank. Other than that, during the fight, I'll be letting you know different things that can be helpful. And here we go. As we go, the boss will spawn over here. Now, as you see, he debuffs you quite rapidly too. Each debuff does different things: bleeding, periodic internal damage. Then there's shredded, which gives me 100% armor reduction. So basically I have 0 armor, which isn't new to a sentinel, of course. But also, if you look, he also has 100% reduced armor, meaning all my attacks go straight through. Even if you're a guardian, you're still going to hit as if you have over 100% accuracy, which not a lot of guardians will have. Also, if you look, every now and then there'll be a little slowed icon. Each attack from this boss will slow you a dramatic amount, which really isn't a big issue in this boss fight if you're high level. If you're low level and you need to get out of his AoE range, then it might be really helpful if you have somebody in your group that has a speed boost like Transcendence, which is right there, which could really help out your team. It increases your defense by 10% and increases your movement speed by 50%. Will really help you out in certain situations. As you can see, I'm really not taking any damage, but then again, I'm a level 50, like I said before. Also, you have to take into account that we've got 3 people here. If we were all around Uwan's level, around level 39, you'd see a bit more drastic change in my health during each hit. Also, if you're trying to solo this, even if you are level 50, as you can see, you still take damage. It would be beneficial for you to have a companion out, so you can use your heroic moment. Once you use your heroic moment, though, you have to basically rely on your defensive abilities, defensive cooldowns, and your little med packs, if you've got any. Also, stims would be very helpful. Every now and then, you'll see this sand being blown out from under him. And, well, that's what it would look like to somebody who's a little farther back. When you're this close, it's a little harder to notice. But he has an AoE attack that will attack everybody within a certain range of him. You should be able to see it every now and then. This just looks like dirt, basically. What you want to do is, if you're a low level, you want to try to stay if you're a ranged DPS or a healer, you want to try to stay outside of its AoE range, which is 11 to 15 meters. It's best to stay at least like 15 to 20 meters away, close enough to where you can heal everybody in your group, far enough away that you're not going to be taking a massive amount of damage from all its AoEs. As you can see, I just had a little bit of a lag spike, so I can't really do much. But I will say that it is very beneficial to at least have one level 50 in your team, even if it's not a DPS or a tank, just a healer, somebody that's high leveled that can keep you healed, keep you alive, or do damage or tank or whatever. Doesn't really matter, as long as you've got somebody here that has some experience. Also, for those lower levels out there, it would be very beneficial for those of you who need to use the little buffs and debuffs. There's some classes that have debuffs for your enemies. Other classes have some abilities that increase your DPS output or your intake, your damage reduction. As you can see, that boss is fairly easy. Every now and then he will stun you, as you saw. He does a big hit that will stun the tank, so if you've got some low-level people on your team, you're going to want to try to get the tanker. If he gets stunned, you're going to need somebody else that can withstand the damage long enough for the stun to wear off, or they can use Resolute to break that stun instantly, which will really benefit you guys if you only have one tank. Also, I didn't use any of my buffs, mainly for the fact that they're not really needed on some world bosses, but if you are lower level in a group, let's say an ops group of 5 to 8, level 25s to 38s, maybe even a 40, you're going to want to use some buffs, like maybe Zen to increase your damage and give you an extra heal, Inspiration to increase your damage by 15%, as well as healing dealt by 15%. So if you have a healer, they heal 15% higher. Transcendence would also be a good one for the 10% defense boost. Also, if you see the tank taking a lot of damage, it's really useful to pop one of those abilities to make sure that they don't die. Otherwise, it could be very bad for your team. For most world bosses, you'll notice that abilities like Pacify and Awe will not have any effect on him. But you can go through flashpoints and other things, using things you would use on world bosses in those flashpoints, or on other PvE instances. As you can see, I've got a lot of abilities that I didn't even attempt to use. Yes, that is not the best thing, but for some circumstances you won't be using all your abilities. For like a Sentinel or a Guardian, you need focus to even do any type of attacks. So some good things to focus on are focus building attacks to start. Once you have a high focus around 8 to max, that's when you can start unloading your big attacks like Blade Storm and Blade Rush, Precision Slash, so on and so forth. Each different ability gives you a different gives different little buffs, I guess you could call them, like Precision Slash will give you a 100% armor penetration for about 5 seconds, which means even if you don't have over 100% accuracy like I do, you're going to hit every time for that full 4.5 seconds for at least your base amount of damage, which for a normal strike for me is 948 to 1200 damage. At that point in time, after using Precision Slash, it's also kind of smart to use Blade Rush, which with the 100% armor penetration will crit fairly often, and if you have enough focus built up, you can do that 3, maybe 4 times. More than likely it'll be 3 and then it'll be done. After those 3 are done though, you want to focus, you want to do a strike to build up enough focus to do like a Blade Sword, so that you have, because Blade Rush gives you a 30% chance to activate an Ataru form, which in Ataru, if you get that Ataru form, it will show up a little buff in your buff section. It will give you a 100% chance to critical on your Blade Storm, and if you have high enough critical multiplier, you can crit up to, I'd say, 4,000. I think the highest I've actually critted was around 3,800, maybe 3,900 with Blade Storm. Master Strike is also a very useful skill, especially on this boss, because he's got 100% armor reduced, which means that every time you use Master Strike, you'll get somewhere in the damage range, no matter what. You're not going to miss at all. So for 4,449 damage to 5,303 damage is one thing that you can really benefit from. Doing as much damage as you can as quick as possible, because if the boss does enrage in lower leveled groups, then it could wipe the entire group and you'll have to start all over. Basically, what you gotta think about is doing as much damage as you can in the shortest amount of time, as well as watching your own health. If your health starts dropping too low in a group where you can't use a heroic moment or anything like that, and you can't always count on the heals, you've got to use your defensive buffs as well as med packs if you've got them. It's always good to have a couple med packs and stims just in case, and using those buffs will really help you out. They can make or break the fight. You might win, you might lose, but if you use those defensive buffs, you have a little bit of a better chance to actually win the fight, which is what you're looking for in PvE instances. Other than that, I've covered most of the basics on a world boss fight. I will be making another video not too long from now. Thank you all for watching, and I thank both Uwan and Elsis for being here helping me. I am very grateful to have friends like them. Thank you again, and we'll see you later.